Kate Hilliard here, registered dietitian at the Antonio E. Garcia Center. And today we're going to dive into everything meal planning. This topic is especially exciting for me and important because we make food decisions every single day. And to discover new foods, new flavors, and try new recipes, this is the topic for you. So some tools I like to use for meal planning include my computer, using the internet to find and research recipes. Also some great food magazines that have wonderful ideas in there. Cookbooks as well, and I brought 2 of them with me today. And as well, just good old some paper and pen to write down some grocery list ideas, some tabs to mark some recipes that we might want to make later, and as well to have even a nice template for a weekly meal plan. So we will look into each and every single one of these to help you make meal planning simple. So one of the things I like to use is definitely the internet. There are a ton of recipes that you can find online. And American Diabetes Association has great resources found diabetesfoodhub.org. And so that's the address you'll put in, diabetesfoodhub.org. And it actually takes you to a bunch of featured recipes here. And if you've ever used Pinterest, the way that it's lined out with all the pretty pictures, we do eat with our eyes first. So that is always very helpful to pick what we'd like to make. And so from what we have featured here, we're gonna look at this fast fix bean burrito. So just hovering over the recipe, we see what the serving size is, 1 burrito, the calories at 340 calories, and total carbohydrates, so 45 grams, which is 3 carbohydrate servings, total fat at 15 grams, and our protein, 11 grams, and then how easy it is to fix. So it's called Fast Fix, so we hope it's pretty quick. And sure enough, 5 minutes of prep time, 1 minute of cook time, and it makes 1 serving size. And so we can click into this recipe, and right there are the nutrition facts all laid out for you, as well as that beautiful picture that we saw. And when we scroll down is where we're gonna find all our ingredients. So this needs only a whole wheat tortilla, refried beans, prepared guacamole or mashed avocado, some salad greens, and some jarred salsa or pico de gallo. And so just putting all those together, you scroll down and it'll give you the directions. So using step 1 and step 2. So this is super quick. So just warming up everything you can use in the microwave and then assembling it, and you're all set. And so this is a really great way to find recipes. There's also functions to print it if you like to have the paper version out with you. And you can even save to my recipes and create a login so that you can kind of create your own cookbook as you go. Another helpful tool are diabetes magazines. And so there's plenty out there. Some of them are monthly, some are seasonally. And so very simply, what you can do is find ones that have a good amount of recipes in them. And so this is Diabetic Living. This one is very well done. And of course in the front, there's wonderful inspiring articles and even featured products and featured technology. And so most likely towards the back is where you're gonna see all the wonderful nutritious recipes as well. And so magazines do a great job in including photos. They even include, of course, the prep time, the cook time, all the ingredients, and sometimes little tips and tricks as well. And so what I like to do is usually these magazines are very seasonal. And because of that, I always like to keep magazines even after its date. I never really like to get rid of them because you have a mini cookbook in here. So this is spring 2020, and this magazine I have here is actually from last year, March, April 2019. And so now that we're getting into the fall season and it's September, October, pulling out magazines that I have from the fall is gonna make sure that I'm actually cooking seasonally. So that's one thing I really enjoy about magazines, is that all the recipes that they include are going to be very seasonal and using those ingredients, which typically is going to cost cheaper. So just as we mentioned about eating and shopping seasonally to help with your budget, you can also find a ton of cookbooks depending on what your needs are. And so if budgeting is a big thing when it comes to meal planning, there are wonderful cookbooks out there that are eating inexpensively but eating healthy on $4 a day. This one's on, and so one thing that I really like with cookbooks and something to look out for when you're shopping for a cookbook is the photos. I always want to see those pictures, just like you do in magazines, just like you do on the internet. I want to see what I'm preparing. It builds confidence. It makes me want to cook the item versus recipes that there may be 500 recipes in a book, but if I'm not being inspired by the photos that are in here, I don't really want to make it. So watching out for those photos to inspire you to cook it. And as well, there's some really good cookbooks that are specifically for diabetes, and these obviously would recommend because they'll always have your nutrition facts in them as well. And so looking at these are some peanut butter banana oat bites, so something that you can have for a snack or for breakfast. And make sure that it's easy for you to read. And so if you need a cookbook that has larger print, like this one here, if it's easier to follow directions when it's laid out, numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, versus written out in a paragraph form, get comfortable with your cookbooks. And sometimes you may have some good ones on hand that you need to rediscover. So go back into that bookshelf, go back into that pantry, and see if there are some good healthy cookbooks that you can actually start building your meal planning foundation with. Otherwise, if you shop for cookbooks, you can always shop online. Half Price Books in our area is a wonderful place to get cookbooks as well, or that's always a great gift idea to ask for. And so just realize that you can just take one recipe at a time, and what I like to do too is to mark with little sticky notes and little tabs on things that I want to cook later. And so as I go through the cookbook, I'll go through it, cover to cover, and see, what recipes inspire me. And from there, I'll just take my little tab and mark it so that when I build my grocery list, I know what to come back to. And so that it's not overwhelming, as you may want to make 20 different recipes in a cookbook, it's really good to only focus on no more than 3 recipes for the week. Something that's brand new is going to take some time, and to kind of weed out the frustration, it's very important to kind of keep it very simple, only choosing anywhere from 1 to 3 recipes that are brand new that you're going to make for the week, and sticking to those ingredient lists and trying it out. And so that'll make meal planning so much more easy for you. Now that we have some delicious and inspiring recipes, it's time to build that grocery list. So what I like to do is just old plain and paper, writing out my grocery list to make sure that I don't forget any ingredient as I go throughout my week to meal plan. And so I went through and I went back to the recipes that I marked in my cookbook. And from here, I'm just going to look through the ingredient list to make sure if I have anything in my pantry, obviously I'll use that and won't have to purchase it, but there may be some things that I need. So in this recipe on peanut butter banana oat bites, I do have some peanut butter. I will need a banana, so I'll write that on my list here. I have some eggs. I do have vanilla extract. This is asking for some brown sugar or some Truvia or Splenda. I could use some Truvia, because we can also use it for other things. Since it's a natural sweetener, we can use it even for like iced teas and drinks. I need some rolled oats, which I'll write on my grocery list here. I have baking soda in my pantry, I have salt, and I may need to get some flaxseed. So I'll make sure to write that down. And also pay attention to what type it's looking for. So in this flaxseed, it's actually already looking for milled, which is already crushed flaxseed, not the whole seeds. So I'll make sure to make a note there. And then same thing with some other recipes I tabbed. So this one back here is roasted rainbow carrots. And it asks for nonstick cooking spray, which I have. I'll need 2 pounds or 2 packages of carrots. And then I do have olive oil and I have pepper. So that's a simple recipe to make, and all I really need is the carrots. Now what I do recommend is that you do put the page number next to those ingredients that you're getting, and so you know to reference it later. So the carrots are found on page 158, and my oat bars are found on page 160. Just so you remember what ingredients you're writing out and what recipe that it pertains to. Now on your grocery list, you also, again, just want to check your pantry and sometimes build off recipes with already what you have so that you do reduce some food waste. If you're more of an electronic type of person, you can definitely do a list on your phone, or a lot of grocery stores are wonderful using their shopping online, either their app or using your computer, and you can build your grocery list there and even do a curbside pickup. So whatever is going to be easy and convenient for you for eating healthy, do it. The possibilities, the tools, and the resources out there are endless. Something that I really love to use to plan out my meals is a weekly meal planner. And it's simply just a printed page that you can find a ton of different templates online to print out in order to use to plan out your meals. Now you can print out one a week if you want to, or in order to conserve paper and to kind of help as you're being creative and you're planning out what to eat, you can use a protective sheet cover, something plastic like I have here, or if it's easier to laminate it, or buy one that is laminated, you'll just slip it inside, and then from there you can use a dry erase marker. And so when you're planning out your ingredients, you can have this as well on the side, or you can have just doing your weekly meal planning. And of course, it easily erases so that you can keep reusing it. So what I like to do is, it's really difficult to plan out every single thing that you're gonna eat for the week because things come up, right? Whether it's kids or grandkids' schedules, doctor appointments. And so because you're not always sure exactly what you're gonna eat at exactly what time, for me, I always like to take, again, those two or three recipes that we looked at in our cookbook to try to cook for the week, and those are the ones that I like to write and plan out. So I already know I'll be busy most likely on Monday evening, but on Tuesday, I know that I'll have time to cook at home. So this would be a great time to make my grilled chicken along with those roasted carrots that we looked at. So those are the two things I'll write down. And again, if it's easy for you for reference, you can always write the page number where you found that recipe at so you can refer to later. So Wednesday evening is busy, but Thursday I'll actually have time to cook, and that we can make my veggie quiche that I found in my other cookbook. So either making it for breakfast the next day to have, or even breakfast for dinner and changing that up. And then of course on weekends, if it's easier too that you cook for a few days out, starting on Saturday or Sunday, a lot of meal prepping happens on the weekends so that during the weekday and the work day that you have some recipes that are easy and available for you. So Saturday might be a good time to do a lot of my long-term kind of meal prepping. And for meal prepping, this is where I like to have a protein, so something like salmon or a fish, a whole grain such as quinoa, and then even a vegetable like some broccoli. So here I can make a few servings and then have enough for the next probably 2 to 3 days. So from there, it's not overwhelming where I'm trying to make a different recipe every single day, but I know I can plan out my week and tackle new ideas so that they get comfortable and that they're easier to make later on. So So just to recap everything we looked at for simple meal planning, always know that you have great tools and recipes online. So whether that be looking for recipes or using some online shopping and curbside pickup to make your life easier, feel free and go ahead and do that. We looked at magazines and knowing that you have a mini little cookbook in all your great magazines, so keep hand on that. And also know that you're going to have seasonal ingredients and recipes, which is great for your budget and your bank. Different cookbooks and what to look at, looking for pictures, things to get inspired with, tracking down and tabbing what recipes that you'd like to make with, again, little sticky notes or little tabs there. And just getting out, for me, I like getting out that good old pen and paper in order to write down the ingredients I need and where to reference that recipe at. And then to really tie it all together, to find a good template out there to help you with meal planning that you can write down when you have time to cook and what you want to cook and try out. And again, the more that you do this, you'll find that it's super fun, it's super exciting to try new flavors, and I really hope that you have a great time discovering new recipes that are healthy for you and great for your blood sugar.